So this is a lecture on Android manifest file. Android manifest file is an XML file, and it describes essential information about the application. So which file is used for which purpose, that information will be within Android manifest.xml. And this information is used by the build tools and the operating system, as well as the Google Play. Okay, so this is one of the important file in an Android application. If you develop different activities or services or broadcast receivers or content providers within your application, if you are not having Android manifest file, then all those cannot be executed. Okay, they cannot be started. So such an important file is this. Okay, and okay, what it consists of? It is an XML file, so there will be tags. There will be so many tags, and some of the tags will provide the information about the package name of the application, the components. It provides information about the components. What are the components? Activities, services, broadcast receivers, content providers. Those are all the components. For those components, there will be a special tag for each component, and generally we define a Java program, Java class for each component, and we have to specify which Java class is used for which component. That information and all will be specified in this component related tags. There will be activity tag, service tag, receiver tag, and content provider tag. Okay, and of course there will be some other information like device configurations that it can handle and the intent filters, so on. Okay, so those are the information generally we store related to components. And then permissions. In Android operating system, an app cannot use whatever it wants, just like that. It cannot use. So what it has to do, it has to take the permission. It has to take the permission. And the elements within the app can also be secured. Or there also you can give permissions. How your elements, your app elements has to be accessed. Or there you can specify permissions. Otherwise, how your app can access the resources of the Android smartphone, that also it has to get, or there also it has to get permissions. So those kind of permissions can be specified in permissions tag in manifest file. And then a few hardware and software features can also be specified within this manifest file. Okay, and when you look at the content within the manifest file, it is an XML file. That's why at the starting line you have to specify the processing instruction tag of XML. That's nothing but question mark, XML version, and all those stuff. And then if you consider any XML file, there should be a root node. There is a starting node. There should be only one node as root node. That is the starting node. Okay, then the remaining things will come, the child, subchild, okay, all those things, right? So the first tag should be manifest, and within that so many attributes are there about the version code, the version name, and also the package. Okay, so here the package matters. That's nothing but it applies. That package name is used as the namespace. So suppose there will be one class with the name r.java in our Android application. Okay, it will be created automatically. We know that particular point in Android Studio. Okay, it talks about the resources that are r.class, r.java file, that class file. Okay, and if you write simply r.java, what it is not simply r. Before that, there should be the package name. What is the package name? That package name will be obtained from the attribute name package in manifest node. Within the manifest file, there is one root node. That root node name is manifest, and for that manifest there are so many attributes. One of the attribute is package. Within that package, the name of the package is given. Okay, now the files within the project, otherwise mainly the Java files within the project can be identified, can be used by using this name. So we will be simply writing r.java, but in the background it will use that package name. That's nothing but if the package name is com.example.myapp, then to refer that r, it will use com.example.myapp.r. There's nothing but package name dot name of the class. Okay, and it is also used to resolve any relative class names. Relative class name. There's nothing but simply we will write a dot main activity. There will be a tag for every activity. So that is activity tag. Within that activity tag, we have to specify the name of the activity. Of course, so many other attributes are also there. So we are concentrating on the concept. So name of the activity is dot main activity. What is before dot? Before dot, the particular package name only will be used. So com dot example, you have to see the green inked letters. So com dot example dot myapp, that's the name of the package, dot main activity. So no need to write every time com dot example dot myapp. So simply you write the dot name of that particular activity class, and before that, that package name will be applied automatically in Android Studio. Okay, and then of course within the manifest file there will be a root node, and we have seen the attributes within the root node. And the second one is there will be tags, there will be nodes. Tag is a synonym for node, XML node or XML tag, anything is fine, right? A tag is a normal term where node is a technical term. Okay, now within the manifest file, okay, there will be nodes for the components that you are going to use in your Android application. We know those components. What are those components? Activity, services, broadcast receivers, and content providers. So activity tag, service tag, receiver tag, not broadcast, receiver tag, and the other one is not content provider, it is provider tag. Okay, I mean, I'm talking about the node name or tag name. Okay, so these are the tags we are going to use for each component. If you write in the manifest file the tag activity, and if you refer one particular activity, then only that activity can be started or executed within your Android application. Otherwise it cannot be. Your class, your Android activity class may not be recognized as an activity. Okay, it cannot be started because it is not mentioned in manifest file. So you have to be careful whenever you create any component. Make sure that component related information is provided within the manifest file or not. For each activity, one activity node. For each service, one service node. Similarly, the receiver as well as provider. And we will not simply write activity. We will be writing few attributes within the activity also. Of course, if you go through one small example, then you can understand what and all attributes you are supposed to give for that activity node, and what and all values that you can give. Very easily we can understand. That's why I'm not stressing those things over here. Okay, let us move to the next one. What and all we give in a manifest file. Then we provide some information about intents also. Intent generally lies with a component. Okay, it is not a intent is not a component. Okay, intent is a message that can be used between components, to activate a component. In order to activate a component, you have to use intent. Okay, so within the activity tag, otherwise within the receiver tag, like that, some other components within those tags, opening and closing tags, in the middle we will be placing the information related to intents by the help of intent filter tags or nodes. Okay, that's what the point here. App, activities, services, broadcast, receivers, generally these three will use. Okay, mainly most of the time these three components will use the intents. Okay, and another point is an activity can deal with any number of intents. There is no restriction, and we have to use intent hyphen filter element within the XML file. Element, node, tag, all are same, right? Okay, each one describing the different capability of that particular component. Okay, so we see like this. There will be a manifest node, and then there will be few nodes for each component, and within each component there can be intent filters. Okay, those are the tags or elements or nodes, right? And the next one, we have icons as well as labels. Okay, so those icons and labels related information is also be placed in manifest file. Okay, what are icons? Icon attributes for displaying a small icon. Okay, and what is label? A text label. Okay, to users for corresponding app component. But if there is any component for that, a small label will be there, a small icon will be there. That information can be specified over here. Okay, there from here only the icon information, the label information will be fetched, and that will be displayed during the execution of that particular component. Okay, so when you look at the note, icon and label that are set in parent element become the default icon and label for all the child elements. There's nothing but XML. If you look at XML document, it observes, otherwise it follows a tree structure. We know tree structure. There will be a root node, child node. That child node can act as parent for some other node. Okay, so there will be parent and child elements here in XML document. When there is an icon or label for the parent node, that can also be applied as icon and label for the child node also. So here we use, suppose, component. For the component, we take the label and icon. Within the component, there can be some children. For the children also, those features like icon and label can be applied. For example, icon and label that are set in the application element. Of course, along with the manifest node, there should be application node also, application element. So if you take icon and label for application, that can be defaulted to its components like activities. Okay, so manifest, okay, application. Within the application, what and all components we are taking. Okay, so now if you take icon and label for application, within that what will be there? The components like activities. So for activities, the icon and label what you set for application can also be applied to the activity. That's what the concept, right? Next. Okay, and permissions. Okay, so here there will be two types of permissions. That's nothing but one is this app uses these permissions. Otherwise, one more thing is for the elements within this app, we need this permission. Likewise, we can specify the permissions over here by using uses permission and permission element. Uses, you can look at the bottom of the slide, or there uses permission element as well as permission element. Okay, so we know that point, that nothing but in Android, okay, an app cannot be executed just like that. It cannot use all the resources. Okay, it requires permission. Okay, whatever resource it wants, it requires a permission. Those permissions can be specified over here. Few permissions will be specified over here. Few permissions will be granted by the user. Okay, like that, full security will be there in Android environment. Okay, so let us look at these points. Android apps must request permissions to access some sensitive user data. It requires permission. Okay, if the permission is not there, then app cannot access. That's it. Even though you will write a lot of code, your app cannot access that resource because it does not have the permission. Okay, for example, the contacts, otherwise SMS, there should be permissions. If an app wants to access contacts or SMS, it requires permission. Okay, as well as camera or internet access, it requires permission. An app cannot directly use your camera. An app directly cannot use your internet facility in your mobile, in your smartphone. It requires permission. After first it has to, that app has to place users permission in the manifest file, and the second one is during using of that particular data, again the Android operating system will confirm from the user some of the times. For suppose location, if your app wants to find out the location of your mobile, we have to write a tag, permission tag in the manifest file, and while executing, the Android operating system will ask the user, see, this particular app is asking permission for your location. Do you want to allow? If you allow, then only that app will get the permission. Otherwise, it can't get the permission. Like that, security is provided here in Android. So if your app wants to use some of the resources, it has to write. You have to write uses permission element within the manifest file. Okay, and each permission is identified by using an unique label. A label is given for every permission, so you have to use that permission. For suppose when you look at one small example, an app that needs to send SMS must have this. What is that? Send underscore SMS. It is predefined. It is already given earlier. So what you have to do? You have to follow it. You have to follow it. What is that? Android dot permission dot send underscore SMS, and send underscore SMS should be in capital letters. You have to write. You cannot simply take the permission however you want by writing whatever name you want. Okay, you have to use the label provided. And another one is from beginning with Android 6.0. That is why that is what API level 23 onwards. User can approve or reject. That's what I'm telling about location. So the Android application, they will write one permission tag in the manifest file, and they will try to access the resources. But still, Android operating system is asking the user also to approve or reject the such kind of some permissions during the runtime. Okay, and as I said, there will be two elements. One is user's permission element, another one is permission element, and one is used for to get the grant for your app. Another one is to protect the components of your app. To protect the components of your app, you'll be giving the permission. To get the grant to access the resources of the Android operating system or Android smartphone, you will be asking the permission. Your app can ask the permission. Otherwise, your app can provide some security to your app resources, app components, or app data, and for that you can specify the permissions, who can access, how they can access all those things. Okay, and device compatibility also. For device compatibility also, there's nothing but hardware or software related stuff. So it declares what type of hardware or software features your app requires. Your app requires. Okay, and that is what compatibility. Compatibility. So without hardware and software compatibility, you should not execute an app directly. Okay. So at some time during the execution time, there can be a crash or a runtime error or exception. Okay, because hardware is not supported, software is not supported. So before that, you have to check the compatibility. Okay, if it is not compatible, then no need to install, saying that your hardware is not compatible to this app, so unable to install, like that. Some messages we will see. How? That is nothing but from the information what the app developer provided in uses feature element within the manifest file. Okay, so what it is, a user's feature to declare hardware and software features your app needs, means what, which hardware your app is trying to use. Okay, which software your app is going to use, those will be specified over here. Okay, if that particular phone does not have that hardware, then directly we can tell this particular feature is not supported, this is not compatible, like that. We will be specifying what we are going to use. Based upon that, we can find whether it is compatible or not. That's why it is given as device compatibility. For example, if your app cannot achieve basic functionality on a device without a compass sensor, you can declare a compass sensor as required with the following manifest tag. That's nothing but, see, for your app, compass sensor is required, for suppose. Okay, most of the times compass sensor may not be available in all the Android devices. So it will check the compatibility, device compatibility, when the user is trying to install the app within their your app within their Android devices. It will during the installation, it will check what and all things are required. Okay, if we are telling like this, compass is required. If compass is not there within the smartphone device, then it is not compatible. Which one? That phone is not compatible to your app, because your app requires compass sensor, and that compass sensor is not provided in that Android device. Okay, so that's what the point. So here we can use two attributes for users feature. One is name of that particular hardware, and another one is it is required or not. If you write required is equals to true, then it is mandatory. It is mandatory. Without that, we cannot do anything. So it is not compatible. Like that it is. Okay, so we have gone through manifest element, then application element, then activity, service, provider, receiver elements, permissions element, then users feature element. These are all the elements in manifest file. Okay, and then users SDK. What is SDK? That is for Android, we have SDK. Different versions are there. Okay. Now, which version your app is going to use? That can be mentioned over here again. That can be mentioned over here again by using uses SDK. Okay. So to indicate the minimum, what it will tell, the minimum version required, which is compatible for your app. That nothing but your app is developed in more the recent version. If the user is using the first version of Android, then most of the features may not work. So if your app should work properly, you have to specify this much minimum SDK is required. SDK version or level, API level is required. Then only our app can execute in your system. Otherwise, it cannot be executed in your system. That those details will be mentioned by using this element uses SDK. And here the attribute name is min SDK version. Min SDK version. Of course, later on in the new developments, what they did is we use a Gradle tool in Android Studio. Gradle tool. Okay, over there we write some small piece of code. For suppose here it talks about the default configuration. By using Gradle script also, we can specify the minimum SDK required and the target SDK. Okay, you can see that example here in build.gradle. It is one program by using Gradle script that can be written by using within Android Studio. By using this Gradle script also, this build.gradle file also, you can specify the minimum SDK version required as well as the target SDK version. Okay, so this is also possible. That's what one note over here. But generally we use when you are executing your project in Android SDK, sometimes this version problem will come. Version problem will come. Okay, at the time you have to check that version either in the manifest file or in build.gradle file. That's why we kept this information over here in this slide. Otherwise, users SDK is sufficient. Then next one, file conventions. Okay, so what are those? Those are conventions and roles that generally apply to all elements and attributes in the manifest file. There's nothing but the manifest file is an XML file, and in that XML file we have to follow a few conventions as well as rules, and these rules are applied, otherwise can be applied for all the elements or attributes in the manifest file. Okay, so let us look at those conventions or rules. First, our elements. Okay, we have manifest and application elements or nodes or tags. Okay, those are mandatory. The rule is manifest tag is mandatory, application tag is mandatory. You cannot write a manifest file without manifest tag as well as application tag. That is the first rule. And when you look at other elements, those can occur either 0 or more. Those are optional. If there is an activity, then you take one activity tag. If there is a broadcast receiver within your application, then you write a receiver tag. Otherwise, you won't write, right? Okay, but manifest and application nodes are important or mandatory. Okay, they should occur at least only once. Those should not be repeated also. Okay, that's what only once, right? Then when you see attributes in general, those are optional, right? From HTML onwards, we see those attributes. Those are optional. If you want to specify some feature for that particular activity or service or provider or receiver or whatever it is, if you want to specify some more features to that, now generally we use attributes. Of course, for few of the nodes or tags, few attributes are mandatory. Okay, not all the attributes are mandatory. Generally, some of the attributes are mandatory and most of the attributes are optional. Okay, it is like that. Okay, that is what. And multiple. Okay, so in intent filter we specify, we use multiple same elements like that also. We will be writing, that's what the point here. So we are going through rules as well as conventions that we have to follow in a manifest file. We studied that there should be only once the manifest node as well as application node, and the remaining things are according to according to your application. And we have seen attributes, and then there will be multiple values also. Okay, there's nothing but, for suppose when you look at intent filter, within the intent filter we are writing multiple action nodes, action. Okay, but what are those actions? One is edit, second one is insert, third one is delete. All those are three different actions, but all are actions. Each action should be specified by using one action tag. Similarly, activities also, when there are three activities, you'll be writing three activity nodes. Okay, so it happens. It doesn't mean you have to take any node only once. It is not like that. You have to take according to the nature of the application. Okay, so sometimes multiple times a single tag has to be repeated. And then resource values, these things we discussed in the last class. Okay, what are resources and all those things. And for suppose when you look at one code here, from the last point to third point, if you see activity android icon is equals to @ okay, there's nothing but how to refer the resources within this android manifest file. Okay, so we have seen that one. There we have to use @ as well as question mark. If it is a style, you have to use question mark. Or theme, if it is a style or theme, you have to use question mark. Package name, package name is optional. Okay, colon, afterwards resource type slash resource name, resource type slash resource name. We have seen that one in the last class, right? The same thing here. Okay, you can access, otherwise you can refer the resources within the manifest file also. That's what the point. Apart from that, nothing is there. You can go through this. Okay, because we have very less time, that's why I'm moving a little bit further. Okay, so there will be, the points are like this. There will be package name, there will be resource type, there will be name of the resource. Resource type is nothing but, it can be a string, it can be drawable, it can be layout, it can be menu, so on like that. Generally here in manifest file we will be using either string or drawable. That's nothing but image or any string. If you want to get any string, for suppose if you are giving a name to one of the component, for that component name, you can get its name from the strings.xml, strings.xml, by using the notation @ package name resource type slash resource name. Okay, and of course there will be alternative resources also. We know that one, right? For small, there we will be maintaining small icon, medium icon, large icon. Small icon will be used for small screen devices. Medium icon will be used for medium screen devices, and large icon will be used for large screen devices. Okay, that concept. So that is about resource values and how to provide the resource. That's nothing but, see, we will be taking a component like activity. We will be taking service or provider or receiver or any other tags. Okay, in those, generally for attribute values, as attribute values, we will be getting from the resources. We will be getting the attribute values from resources. How to get that one? is this explanation by using @ and that notation, or question mark that notation. @ is for normal string, drawable, all those things, and question mark is for styles or themes. Okay, so we have seen few tags, from Android manifest file, important tags. Not only those tags, there are so many other tags. Okay, let us look at those. Okay, action. That's nothing but whenever you take an intent. Okay, within an intent is nothing but it is a message, and it is a message for an action to be performed. So it tells about the action, and it has category, it has data, like that. So many things are there in an intent. To specify action for an intent, okay, we will be using action tag. And then for a component activity tag, and for alias for activity, there is activity alias. And application, so this is the important tag. You have to use this one only once. And then category. See, I said in intent, there will be action, there will be message, there will be data, there will be category. Okay, these are all the things we use in intent. We will discuss all those things. Okay, so category comes under intent filter. It tells about the category of the intent, and the data also. And there will be compatible screens. It tells about the screens that are compatible for your application, and grant URI permissions. Not only users permissions and permission, we have something like grant URI permissions as well. As so many are there. Okay, so no need to worry about those things, but we should know at least the important things like intent filter. Okay, main tags are manifest, application, activity, service, provider, receiver, users permission, users SDK. Okay, and device compatibility stuff, users feature. Okay, and something like intent filter. In intent filter, there will be action, data, category, and then the main root element manifest. If you see the point by the side of manifest, the root element of the Android manifest.xml file. Okay, and few more: intent filter, manifest, repeated those two. Okay, those were in previous slide also. And then metadata, path permission. So many are there. Okay, so the point here is no need to remember all these things, but you should know there are so many elements in Android manifest.xml file. Okay, you have to look at the documentation provided by Android people in developer.android.com website. Okay, well, in real time we will be using all this, but as a student we will be using very few. What I have explained, those only generally we will be using. Okay, when you look at this small program, this is a small Android manifest.xml, Android manifest.xml. Okay, I think if you are viewing this in a phone, you can enlarge this. You can enlarge the screen so that you can find the text. Okay, I think this is very small, but if you are viewing in a mobile, you can enlarge it and you can see that particular text. Okay, so when you look at this example, we have processing instruction, first one, that is for XML, that is from XML. It is telling it is an XML file and it is using this version and this coding, that stuff. And the first node is manifest node. And within that, by default, you are supposed to write that XMLNS :Android, that is standard. You are supposed to write, and then version code, version name. Along with them, we are supposed to use the package attribute. Okay, we know that one, that is nothing but the namespace. Okay, package name, and then users SDK. What is the minimum version for this application? What is the target version for this application? Okay, target in the sense for this version, this app is created. but it will work with this version also, minimum SDK. Okay, that's what minimum SDK as well as target SDK. And then see, first manifest, then users SDK, afterwards application. Means what? Beyond that, I mean, whatever is present in the application, those are under application. Beyond that application, which are required for your application, okay, are specified outside the application tag. So you have to see that, you have to notice the difference. Okay, and in application again, so many attributes are there. Okay, if you start going through all the attributes, it will take more time. Okay, so that's why I think those are all easy to understand. Those are all easy to understand. Okay, like allow backup, icon, round icon, the label, supports RTL or not, what is the theme for that, all those things. Okay, I think you can understand all those things. And let us move to the next one. There is one activity here. How many activities are there? Two activities are there. What is the first activity? First activity has one intent filter, and first activity name is main activity, and the second activity is display message activity. Two activities are there. That's why two activity tags. There's nothing but same node can be repeated multiple times, and of course it depends upon the element. Okay, for suppose users permission, uh, you may use multiple times. Action, you may use multiple times. Similarly, activity also you can use multiple times because there are two activities in app. So that's why two activity tags. Within that attribute name is name of the activity. And when you write name attribute before the colon and before the colon Android, the nothing but Android is the Android refers the package name here. Package name colon that particular attribute name. Okay, so that's why most of the times we'll be writing Android colon Android colon Android colon. Okay, and then intent filter. So along with the activity, there is an action to be performed. So that is specified in intent filter. Okay, and we discuss all these things in intent concepts. For intent, there will be action, there will be category, there will be data also. Okay, in this example, data is not specified, but in future we may see that also. Okay, all these things comes under that particular intent. Okay, we will see that one. So in second activity also same thing, name as well as what is the parent activity. Parent activity, that's nothing but main activity. Generally execution of the normal flow is like this. Execution starts with the main activity, then the remaining activities. Okay, so at the end my application is closed as well as manifest is closed. Application is closed as well as manifest is closed. Okay, so with this I complete that manifest file.